Now at 7, former President Trump revisits the site of July's assassination attempt, holding a rally for supporters. We got the details ahead. Also, the Alzheimer's Association invites the public to join in their Walk to End Alzheimer's event today. Got the details about that coming up. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Weekend Mornings. I'm Cop Zarcy. Let's first get to today's weather with meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning, Kyle. And right now we're seeing some very mild temperatures for what we normally see during the morning this time of the year. 50s across the area, 58 degrees specifically in Madison, very mild here. 57 in La Crosse, not really seeing any 40s. And in fact, we're actually seeing a few areas closer to the 60s than to the 40s, if you can believe it. Now, looking at the current winds, not too bad right now. There are a few areas seeing those winds already starting to pick up. 14 miles per hour in La Crosse and areas to the west and northwest of you folks. 21 miles per hour in Preston, 24 miles per hour in Rochester. Those winds are going to move into all of Wisconsin throughout the afternoon and impact pretty much the entire area, where we could see those wind gusts up to around 30 to 35 miles per hour. But the difference today is the winds are going to be out of the northwest, which will bring in that cooler air. And so temperatures are not expected to warm up all that much today. Yesterday, the winds were out of the south, which allowed those warm temperatures to move into the area. But today, we're only going to see highs in the middle 60s, and it is going to be pretty windy throughout the day, maybe even windier than yesterday. However, we are still going to see plenty of sunshine, especially for you folks in La Crosse. But again, temperatures are going to be cooler. But I'll talk more detail about the forecast for the upcoming work week coming up in just a bit.
All right, Jacob, thank you. The presidential campaign continues to be a big story. Former President Donald Trump held a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania last night in the same location where he was targeted in an assassination attempt in July. Meanwhile, Vice President Harris traveled to North Carolina, and the candidates have another packed day today. Bradley Blackburn has the latest with 30 days left in the race.
The stage looked the same, so did the large flag overhead. And back in Butler, Pennsylvania, former President Trump picked up where he left off in July.
As I was saying,
this time with a bulletproof barrier and tightened security in the place where he could have lost his life from an assassin's bullet.
So 12 weeks ago, we all took a bullet for America, and all we are all asking is that everyone goes out and votes. And all of this will be for nothing if you don't get out and vote.
Trump and rally-goers honored Corey Comparator, a supporter who was killed that day shielding his family from bullets. In the crowd, many people who witnessed that shooting also returned.
It means that, hey, he's a fighter and he's going to fight for us.
But one change from July, former President Trump is now in a political fight with a different candidate. Polls show Vice President Harris leading slightly nationally. Yesterday, Harris traveled to North Carolina for a briefing on the recovery from Hurricane Helene. She helped volunteers pack care packages and announced an expansion of the federal disaster declaration to include Mecklenburg County.
That means that we're going to be getting substantial resources in to help folks, and in particular to help them now be able to apply for federal assistance.
Harris is off the trail Sunday holding meetings in Washington, while former President Trump flies to Wisconsin for an afternoon rally. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Additionally, a celebrity surrogate will hit the trail for Harris today. Actress Jennifer Garner will join Harris rallies in the key state of Arizona, and Harris's running mate, Governor Tim Walz, will campaign in California. Meanwhile, President Joe Biden will also be returning to Wisconsin this week on Tuesday, with plans to stop in Milwaukee to tout his administration's work in job creation and replacing lead pipes. He will then head to Philadelphia for another trip. Further details about the president's visit were not immediately made clear on Friday. Well, amid the election, we see headlines about the latest poll numbers, but a fun side hobby for political observers can be tracking the political betting odds for the election cycle. This morning on For the Record, political reporter Will Keneally speaks with two UW experts about how the betting odds are shifted by what happens during the campaign.
We aren't going to say that we can know exactly what's going on behind the curtain, right, and how they're making these decisions or choices. But what we do argue, and we've seen historically, is that the way that these bets are set up reflect kind of a broader mood of the electorate, but also when they're bets about specific issues, say when it comes to presidential debates, they're going to really reflect issues that citizens are concerned about.
Experts say they can also offer insight into possible racist or sexist views the electorate holds of certain candidates. You can see more from the conversation later this morning at 10:30 on For the Record here on WISC-TV. Now to more local news. A Sun Prairie Theater group is putting together a show this month, and they're inviting you to join them as they go about solving a mystery. The biggest question remains, who done it? Sun Prairie Civic Theater is performing Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express at Central Heights Theater in Sun Prairie. In fact, they had their second show on Saturday. Lead Mike Schuster says it's as much fun being on stage as it is watching the audience react to twists and turns throughout the play.
It's always great to get in front of an audience for the first time when you're performing a show. So it was a lot of fun when we're up here performing, and we hear the laughter at the parts that are funny because there's a lot of comedy in the show, and then you could feel the tension rising and nervous laughter at times, and then the big gasps and surprises as the twists are revealed.
In Murder on the Orient Express, there's been a murder on the train. One detective must hurry and figure out who the suspect is before time is up. Their next performances are today, as well as on October 11th, 12th, and the 13th. For Madisonians who haven't yet taken part in this year's State Street pedestrian experiment, you have until the end of this month to do so. During this experiment, non-emergency vehicles are not allowed to use the 400 to 600 blocks of State Street in Madison after 3 p.m. on weekdays and after 10 a.m. on weekends. It's during that time that pedestrians and bicyclists are allowed to use the space freely. The city has been collecting feedback about the experiment all summer long, and that feedback will be given in a report to the Common Council before the end of the year to decide whether to regularly bring back the pedestrian mall. And next this morning, the Alzheimer's Association is inviting the community to join walking events to honor those we've lost and those currently battling the disease. The 2024 Walk to End Alzheimer's is today. The event opens to the public in Madison's Warner Park at 8:30. The walk starts at 10:15. Superheroes and Star Wars characters will be there to say hello as well. And there will also be hot dogs and chips for participants afterwards, so be sure to stick around. And if you can't participate in the walk, you can still donate to support the cause. More information can be found by visiting channel3000.com. A Milwaukee woman celebrated 107 years of life on Saturday, surrounded by her friends. The best way to do it, of course. WTMJ reporter Talil Mohadin has the story.
Happy birthday to you.
Surrounded by friends honoring her special date. Lily Riley is blowing out her birthday candles, marking 107 years of life. How does it feel to have all of your friends here celebrating?
It's wonderful. I think it's really, really nice. Makes it a really special day.
The little gathering was organized by Lily's caretaker and friend, DJ Jankowitz.
How many people do you know that live to 107? How many people? I mean, it's just not out there. And if they are at 107, they don't know they're at 107.
DJ tells me what makes Lily's age most impressive is the way the 107-year-old carries herself.
She never complains. She's always smiling. And she's smart as can be.
Of DJ's roughly 12 clients, she says Lily may be the oldest, but is also the easiest to work with.
Lives on her own, and I take care of her less than anybody else I work with. And she's fun.
The birthday girl maintaining her independence and wit for more than a century. What do you think it is that's kept you, going for so long?
I don't know. If I knew, I could write a book and make $1 million.
Lily has plans to continue celebrating her birthday tomorrow with her family. In Milwaukee, Talil Mohadin, TMJ4 News.
Coming up now on 7:09, still ahead. Tomorrow will mark the 1-year anniversary of the war in Gaza and Israel, with many calling for the end to the conflict. We have that next, and let's take a live look outside at the Capitol building. Jacob has another Check the Forecast just ahead on weekend mornings.
Introducing the new Sushi Lover Madison. All-you-can-eat sushi and hibachi at an amazing price. Now open at Westtown Mall for lunch or dinner. Be sure to try Sushi Lover Madison.
Every holiday season, you have in-laws in the spare, the twins in the office, and Uncle Teddy on the sofa. Sounds like it's time for a serious sleep upgrade. during the pre-holiday sale at Denver Mattress. Shop today and save because everything is on sale. Like the Queen Size Summit, now only $332.49. Shop our Doctor's Choice Original lineup starting at only $664.99. And get a $300 gift when you purchase any Tempur-Pedic. Or get 48 months no interest and free shipping. The pre-holiday sale, on now at Denver Mattress.
Energy is like a symphony. Every note, every chord, every instrument creates an incredible melody of power and possibility. But that energy needs to be reliable to have the same power, and affordable to keep the melody. At home, on the road, on farms and fleets, and even ports. Propane and renewable propane lower carbon emissions while harnessing the full symphony of energy. Learn more about safe, clean, reliable propane at propane.com.
He murdered a father of 3, sentenced to life in prison. Kamala Harris pushed to use tax dollars to pay for his sex change.
I made sure that they changed the policy so that every transgender inmate would have access.
It sounds insane because it is insane. Kamala was the first to help pay for a prisoner's sex change.
The power that I had, I used it in a way that was about pushing for the movement, frankly, and the agenda.
Kamala's agenda is they, them, not you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
It's your thing. When you need inspiration, it's worth shopping Pick and Save. For thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And low prices that add up to big savings, like over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $2 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Pick and Save, fresh for everyone.
This is Ford Truck Month, with big offers on the trucks that don't subscribe to the word impossible. Like the off-road ready Ranger, the adaptable Maverick, plus F-Series, America's best-selling trucks, featuring the 2024 Ford F-150, and Super Duty, the North American Truck of the Year, all with offers that make owning one possible. This is Ford Truck Month. Choose FlexBuy on F-150 and get 1.9 APR financing for 66 months, plus $2,000 FlexBuy and $1,000 open bonus cash. See your Wisconsin Ford dealer.
Introducing the new Sushi Lover Madison. All-you-can-eat sushi and hibachi at an amazing price. Now open at Westtown Mall for lunch or dinner. Be sure to try Sushi Lover Madison.
Welcome back. Waking up with a live look outside of La Crosse this morning. Good morning to everyone tuning in up there from News 8 Now. Jacob, we have a pretty nice day. It looks like a little bit of clouds, maybe fog off in the distance there in the hills across the Mississippi. What do we all have in common today across all Wisconsin? What are we looking at?
Well, we're all going to see cooler temperatures compared to yesterday, but we also are going to continue to see some windy weather. Now, the temperatures aren't going to be too bad, but with the winds kind of howling at times, it may feel a little bit chilly. Now, looking at the 3 things you need to know, that is the first of the 3 things, but after today, temperatures will slowly warm up. Monday may actually see similar temperatures to today, but after Monday, we are going to warm up, and we are also going to be staying dry going forward. So let's continue to look at that wind gust forecast. Right now, we're seeing some stronger wind gusts the further northwest you're located, up to around 25 miles per hour for La Crosse and surrounding areas. But the entire region expected to see wind gusts up to 30, maybe even 35 miles per hour throughout the day. Looks like the strongest winds will be in central Wisconsin. But as we get into the evening hours, the winds are going to calm down. We'll only see those around 15 to 20 miles per hour. And then by Monday morning, the winds are no longer going to be a factor. So looking at those highs today, as I mentioned, it is going to be cooler. Highs will be in the middle 60s for pretty much everybody, but we also will continue to see mostly sunny skies. Now, overnight, this may actually be one of the coolest nights we've had so far this season, maybe the coolest, as lows will be dropping into the lower 40s and even upper 30s for several locations. Could even see a few isolated locations around La Crosse dropping all the way to freezing, which would be 32 degrees. So maybe a pretty chilly night, especially in central Wisconsin. And then for Monday, we're going to see similar temperatures to today, but it's not going to be as windy. We also may see a little bit more cloud cover, but for the most part, we're going to continue to see plenty of sunshine. Now, as we take a look at the upper air pattern, the polar jet has dropped a little bit, which has allowed that cooler air to enter Wisconsin. But notice as we head towards the middle and end of the week, that polar jet is certainly going to stay up north in Canada and trapping all the cold air up north. And this is going to continue into the weekend, possibly into next week as well, where Wisconsin and a lot of areas, especially just to the south and west of us, going to continue to see very above normal temperatures. Now, we are in the time of year where above normal temperatures aren't necessarily a bad thing. We'll be back in the 70s by the middle and end of the week. Highs could be even near 80 for Friday and Saturday before, ironically, next weekend there could be another big drop in temperatures from Saturday to Sunday and maybe even more temperatures falling into that following Monday. So here's a full look at the 7 to 10 day forecast. This is La Crosse's forecast. We're also going to see very dry conditions, mostly sunny skies are in the forecast pretty much every day. Again, could be back in the lower 80s by Friday and maybe even Saturday as well. So it is going to continue to be above normal and even well above normal by the end of this week. But early next week may start to be back in the 60s. And by the end of the 10-day forecast, if you can believe it, the average high will be in the upper 50s by then. And we're still talking about 70s and maybe even lower 80s. So just goes to show you how warm it's been lately.
All right, Jacob, thank you. An investigation is underway after a deadly shooting near a youth football game in Colorado Springs. Police say an argument broke out Saturday afternoon in the parking lot of a middle school near a youth football game that was taking place at the same time. Moments later, someone fired shots in the parking lot and a 29-year-old man died. Police are still looking for the shooter, and investigators are trying to figure out what sparked the argument that led to the gun violence. Yesterday around the globe, demonstrations took place ahead of the one-year mark of the Hamas attack on Israel, killing 1,200 and more than 250 who were taken hostage. Israel's subsequent military assault on Gaza has now killed nearly 42 Palestinians since the outbreak of this war. Now, this all as the head of U.S. Central Command arrived in Israel as the war widens. CBS's Itamaz Tayyib is in the Lebanese capital with the latest.
Dressed in black and wearing emerald-colored headbands, the colors of Hamas. This is the funeral of Saeed Attallah, a commander for the militant group's Qassam brigades, along with his wife and 2 daughters who were killed in the Israeli strike. But it's Hezbollah Israel says it's after, as it ramps up its bombing campaign across Lebanon, leveling entire buildings. Like this one. 1 week ago, Israeli fighter jets targeted this building in the predominantly Christian village of Ain al-Delb. It was full of people who had fled the fighting further south. At least 60 people were killed, according to Lebanese health officials.
Well, this was once a 5-story building, and as you can see, it's now just a mountain of rubble. All that's left of what was once people's lives, just bits of clothing and dust.
One shoe, a pair of jeans, and a family picture. Relics of lives that no longer exist. In the shadow of Beirut's iconic blue mosque, more displaced families are living out in the open, including Syrian refugee Mohammed Ahmed Al-Naim and his family. Part of the 1.2 million across Lebanon who've abandoned their homes for safety. We had to flee one war only to find another war, he says. This is torture. At just 20 days old, baby Rita is among the youngest displaced. She and her mother Fatima shelter in this classroom crammed with personal belongings. A new life amid so much violence.
Imtiaz Taib, CBS News.
And this morning, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is lashing out against France's President Emmanuel Macron after he called for a ban on weapons shipments to Israel, with Macron saying Lebanon cannot become another Gaza. Coming up now on 7:18 this morning. Next, Andrew texts in with the morning sports report. Stick around.
The Packers face the Rams Sunday at 3:25.
I'm a nurse in Wisconsin, and my patients don't want politicians like Eric Hovde making their healthcare decisions.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
Hovde means what he says about opposing reproductive rights.
Eric Hovde supported overturning Roe v. Wade, which led to an abortion ban in Wisconsin.
And that's a ban with no exceptions for rape or incest.
What Hovde supports criminalizes abortion and doctors like me.
We need to vote against Eric Hovde.
WIN Senate is responsible for the content of this ad.
Announcing the winners of Madison Magazine's Best of Madison Readers Poll for 2024. Congratulations to Roth Cheese for winning bronze for Best Cheese Producer. Make life more delicious with Roth Cheese. See all the winners on MadisonMagazine.com.
In a Class 3 casino, you're playing against the house, so there's no guarantee a player has to win, ever. And in a Class 2 casino, the players play against each other, and not the house. So someone always wins.
So you're saying... He's saying if you want to win at something, you have to go to Ho Chunk Gaming Madison, a Class 2 casino where someone has to win.
How about this then?
Ho Chunk Gaming Madison.
Fry Construction has done it again. For the 5th year, we've won the prestigious Best of Madison Award, and it's all thanks to you. To celebrate, we're offering 29% off our exclusive Absolute Gutter System with any full roof or siding project. Our gutters are custom fabricated on-site for a perfect, seamless fit that's engineered to excel. Don't just beautify your home, beautify it with the experts you trust. Call Fry Construction today and let us show you why we're the best of Madison.
You've got this. You didn't think your sister would take you up on the dog sitting offer, but here you are. Barriers? Purchased. Doggy distractions? No expense spared. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with $50 overdraft grace zone. So when you have to make a purchase, or 7, to prepare, you can be sure we're looking out for you, so you can look out for him. You've got this with Associated Bank.
The final sprint to Election Day is on, and News 3 Now this morning is focused on the races and the policies that matter to you, the voter.
We're taking a look at both sides of the issues and where the candidates stand so you can cast your vote with confidence.
3 for the people, only on News 3 Now. News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Unfortunately, we have to take another look at the tropics, and right now there is a tropical storm. Right now, Tropical Storm Milton that is expected to strengthen into a hurricane. In fact, expected to strengthen into a Category 3 hurricane, which is labeled as a major hurricane and potentially impacting Florida once again. Now, if there really is any good news with this, it's the fact that it looks like it will stay south of the rest of the United States. So those areas in the Carolinas and eastern Tennessee dealing with all the flooding, looks like this storm won't impact that area, but it likely will impact Tampa and then into Orlando as it pushes further into Florida by around Wednesday afternoon. Now, as I mentioned, it does look like it will stay south of pretty much everywhere else as this system will push due east and off into the Atlantic. Could see some storm surges in the Carolinas far along the coast, but the inland areas, especially those areas in the Appalachians dealing with the flooding, it looks like this storm won't impact that area, but still an unfortunate situation that we may be dealing with another hurricane down south.
Wisconsin football hasn't lost to Purdue since 2003. They've won 17 straight over the Boilermakers and might have needed this one yesterday more than any of the 17 before. Trying to finally show the world who this offense can be, and Braden Locke did just that. Leading 7-0 late in the first quarter, and Vinny Anthony turns on the burners. Anthony into the end zone, a 50-yard pitch and catch. But Locke was just getting started. He threw for 359 yards and 3 touchdowns in this one. Early second half, Badgers up 21-6. All the time in the world, and he launches one for Tretch Kekahuna, who is gone. 69 yards to the house, and no one is catching Tretch. He had an absolutely unbelievable day, and Wisconsin puts it on Purdue, beating the brakes off of the Boilermakers 52-6. It's Wisconsin's most points in a game in the Big Ten since 2014, and as Zach Hanley found out, it's just what this team has been waiting for.
Through 4 games this season, Tretch Kekahuna had 4 catches for 42 yards to his name. That changed in a big way against the Boilermakers as Kekahuna and the Badger offense finally put it all together and exploded for 52 points.
You know, just whenever your opportunity is called and like how 3 guys went down, you just got to be ready to step up and be that man to make plays. And I was blessed enough to be that person, and it just feels great to, just, you know, like how you said, just shine on a big stage.
We just had guys making plays, you know. I mean, obviously Tretch Kekahuna probably stood out the most, but I mean, you had Vinny's long touchdown, you had CJ with some good grabs, you know, and that was another, you know, great thing that happened today. I mean, we never wish for guys to go down, but you saw the next man up mentality. You saw guys step up, you know, in some roles that maybe they haven't been in up to this point, and they got in there and they made plays.
Our twos are not really twos, they're 1Bs, like Coach Fick says, and they showed that today. Like, Tretch played his tail off today. All the running backs played it. O-line played their tail off today, so it's just like, I feel like as long as you can't see a drop-off, it really doesn't matter who's in the game.
So how does one celebrate a 134-yard, 2-touchdown performance? Well, for Kekahuna, it's a simple answer. You take grandma out to dinner for steak, shrimp, and scallops. A well-deserved victory meal. At Camp Randall Stadium, Zach Hanley, News 3 Sports.
The last time we saw Whitewater football, they lost a shocker at home, which really doesn't happen to the Warhawks. This week, not only did the Warhawks show up to play, so did their fans. A Division III record crowd, 21,233 on hand at Perkins Stadium. Whitewater trailing 7-0 second quarter, and they give it to the big tight end, Drake Martin, in the backfield. He punches it in and has a dance to go along with it, as he should. Do your thing, Drake. Later in the quarter, Warhawks with the wind to their back, and they let it fly. Jason Cinetti connects with Brian Wilterdink on a bomb. A 50-yard completion would set the stage for this. Cinetti, a Memorial graduate, trying to bum rush that line of scrimmage and help that push. It works. It's another touchdown, and Whitewater goes on to win it. 21-14 is your final score. That's your morning sports fix. Have a spectacular Sunday.
Thank you, Andrew. And there's still a half-hour news ahead here on Weekend Mornings. Next, we're going to run through the morning's top headlines. Stick with us.
Be the scariest house in the block this Halloween at Menards.
There are over 21,000 Wisconsin veterans struggling to pay for rent and utilities.
Thank you for your service.
Many are also facing issues with their mental health.
Thank you for your service.
We must do more to help these heroes who have already sacrificed so much.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service.
Words simply aren't enough.
I'm sorry.
Make a difference by donating to this critical Wisconsin survival safety net today.
Are undocumented immigrants that are the least likely to commit a crime.
Meet Edwin Ramos. This illegal immigrant murdered 3 Americans. An MS-13 gang member, Ramos was arrested for a gun crime, but as DA, Kamala didn't prosecute him. Months later, Ramos murdered a man and his 2 sons in cold blood.
Are undocumented immigrants that are the least likely to commit a crime.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
It hits you when you step into any of the 3 Willie Street Co-op stores. The smell of freshness. We work with hundreds of farms and vendors to bring you natural, organic, and local food selection unmatched in Madison. Everyone is welcome at Willie Street Co-op, and if you join our more than 30,000 owners, you'll get more sales, discounts, and perks. Fresh, local, organic, yours. Willie Street Co-op.
You have a consumer issue, and you keep getting the runaround.
It was just a total nightmare.
What you need is an advocate.
It's Call for Action to help me. Nobody else did.
News 3 Now's Call for Action team has the experience and resources to get results.
He was able to accomplish in a couple months what we couldn't accomplish in 4 years.
Need help? Contact us by phone or on channel3000.com. Call for Action, only on News 3 Now. Moving forward for you. Moving forward in your community. lending helping hands, spotlighting the people, telling the stories, warning you first. Your local news source for nearly 70 years. News 3 Now, moving forward.
Now at 7:30, former President Trump revisits the site of July's assassination attempt, holding a rally for supporters. We got the details ahead. Plus, in the days leading up to the anniversary of the October 7th attacks on Israel, protesters are looking to bring an end to the conflict. We got those stories and more coming up here on this final half hour of Weekend Mornings. And once again, good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Pazarski. It is Sunday, October 6th. Let's begin with the first warning forecast. Jacob Madison is here with what you need to know. Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning, Kyle. And right now, temperatures are very mild compared to normal in southern Wisconsin, 58 degrees. We also are seeing mostly sunny skies. We are going to see some windy conditions later, but right now we are seeing calm winds in Madison. And looking at the temperatures across the region, consistently in the 50s across the board, a few areas in the 40s, but for the most part, we are a little bit mild compared to normal. And as we look at those winds, a lot of the area not seeing those winds pick up yet, but still seeing a few areas pretty gusty, 60 miles per hour in Monroe. Windier the further northwest you're located, and that wind is going to push into the rest of our area, where we could be seeing wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour. Sustained winds around 20 miles per hour are expected for much of the day. But notice those temperatures, they're not going to change too much. We're going to see highs in at the middle to lower 60s. We'll see a little bit of cloud cover at times, but for the most part, we're going to see mostly sunny skies. And the one thing to point out is that these 60s today are much closer to normal than what we saw yesterday. Now, as we look at La Crosse's forecast, very similar, a lot of sunshine, but cooler temperatures. Also a lot of wind with sustained winds up to around 20 miles per hour. So again, it will feel a little bit chilly today, especially with that wind howling, but this is what we normally see this time of the year. I'll talk more in detail about the forecast for the rest of the week, where there is a warm-up coming. Well, the details still to come.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Our top stories now. Former President Donald Trump returned to Butler, Pennsylvania on Saturday to the site of the failed assassination attempt against him this past summer. Amid extra tight security, Trump drew a large crowd of supporters, picking up where he left off before a would-be assassin's bullet grazed his ear almost 3 months ago.
As I was saying, over the past 8 years, those who want to stop us from achieving this future have slandered me, impeached me, indicted me, tried to throw me off the ballot, and who knows, maybe even tried to kill me. But I've never stopped fighting for you, and I never will.
The former president also paid tribute to Corey Comparator, a former volunteer firefighter killed while trying to protect his family during the attack. Today, the former president will make another stop in Wisconsin as he looks to secure voters. He is expected to speak at the Dodge County Airport in Juneau at 2 p.m., and this will be his fourth campaign stop in the Badger State in the span of a week. Doors for today's event open at 10. President Joe Biden will also be returning to Wisconsin this week on Tuesday, with plans to stop in Milwaukee to tout his administration's work in job creation and replacing lead pipes. He will then head to Philadelphia for another trip. Further details about the president's visit were not immediately made clear on Friday. Monday will mark 1 year since the Hamas-led terrorist attacks on Israel, in which 1,200 people were killed and more than 250 were taken hostage. On Saturday, thousands of protesters took to the streets in major cities around the world, demanding an end to the bloodshed in Gaza and the wider Middle East. In Detroit, some 500 protesters marched near the city's famed Fist Monument, many waving Palestinian and Lebanese flags, chanting protest slogans.
The genocide that's still happening, and our government is complicit in this. They're now calling for an arms embargo. They're now calling to cease a permanent ceasefire. So we are just going to keep the momentum, boycotting. We are going to just keep the fight until to change the narrative, until things change.
Israel's subsequent military assault on Gaza has killed nearly 42,000 Palestinians. It has also displaced nearly all of the enclave's 2.3 million people. In sports news, Green Bay Packers wide receiver Romeo Doubs has been suspended ahead of today's game against the Rams. General Manager Brian Gutekunst saying, quote, his decisions and actions during the week negatively impacted the team and required us to take this action. Dobbs has had 12 catches for 169 yards and no touchdowns through Green Bay's first 4 games of the season. As for the Badgers, they returned to Camp Randall Stadium on Saturday looking for their first Big Ten win, and they would get that and more with Tawe Walker scoring 3 TDs and putting on an absolute beatdown of the Boilermakers. 52-6 was the final, and head coach Luke Fickell was pleased to say the least.
This is what things want to look like for us. And I know you can't expect this every single week. I mean, obviously you can work for it. But what I mean by it, and I told him afterwards, it wasn't just winning, and it wasn't winning by the score. It was winning in a way that, like, there was still some adversity. There were still some things we had to do in order to have success.
Wisconsin's 52 points are their most against a Big Ten opponent in 10 years. Now to continuing coverage of the cleanup from Helene, Wisconsin Task Force 1 returned to the state yesterday after being deployed to North Carolina for flooding assistance. Our reporter Ellie Laliberte spoke to members of the mission about what it means for them to help out those most impacted by Helene.
16 members returning here to the REACT Center after having spent the past week in North Carolina assisting local first responders and performing water searches. This is the team's first big deployment out of state.
I can honestly say that we're a better team because of what we did in North Carolina.
For the past week, 16 members of Wisconsin Task Force 1 have been in North Carolina. The team performing swift water searches, looking for missing people, and doing welfare checks for those isolated from Hurricane Helene. Doug Vreetrek is the rescue team manager.
It's an absolute sense of accomplishment because of so many challenges. No cellular service, no internet, no road maps. Our phones didn't work, you know, face-to-face conversations, drawing maps on paper napkins.
But for Vreetrek, the week spent helping is a testament to the work put in by the task force.
We train for this. We train for this for the state of Wisconsin. The state of Wisconsin supports us, and so when we're called into action, be it in Wisconsin or be it anywhere in the United States, we're glad and proud to use that skill.
Getting those skills doesn't happen overnight.
To get them all trained up to deployable status is like several hundred hours of training.
Matt Davies is the Wisconsin Task Force 1 program coordinator. He says that training paid off.
Oh, it feels fantastic. We got everybody down there. We got them all back with the same numbers of fingers and toes that they left with. They impressed everybody they worked with.
The team bringing down 4 inflatable boats, protective gear, life vests, and more. But the impact of the week will extend hundreds of miles north to Wisconsin.
We brought back a tremendous amount of knowledge and a tremendous amount of experience to apply to anything that happens in Wisconsin or what happens should we go out of state again as well.
Which could happen soon. Vreetrek says the devastation in North Carolina means the work may not be over.
And this isn't going to be over tomorrow or the next day. And so we talked about, as members, what's the next step? What happens when the phone rings in 2 or 3 days?
But for now, these 16 will get a chance to rest after their first big mission out of state comes to a close. Now, if you are looking for ways to help victims of Hurricane Helene, you can find a link to donate to the Red Cross on our website, channel3000.com. For now, reporting at the REACT Center, Ellie Laliberte, News 3 Now.
Ellie, thank you. The death toll for Helene so far is now more than 200 across 6 states, making it the second deadliest hurricane to strike the U.S. in the past 50 years. Coming up now on 7:38 on this Sunday morning, still ahead, Kyron Lee is back with a health conversation on Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Stick around. This is Weekend Mornings.
A1 Furniture and Mattress is closing their giant showroom, and that means the best prices ever. Everything must go. Over $1 million in inventory must be sold. Name brands at huge discounts for every room. Store closing sale on now at A1 Furniture and Mattress.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
Fentanyl is killing over 1,000 people a year in Wisconsin. New reporting shows that Eric Hubdy is doing business with a bank accused of links to the Mexican drug cartel. Banco Azteca loaded up $26 million in cash and flew it to Eric Hubdy's bank in California. Other U.S. banks have cut ties with this Mexican bank, but Eric Hubdy took their money. That's 26 million more reasons you can't trust Eric Hubdy.
Champion's big window sale is back.
Do you have ugly, hard-to-open, drafty windows? Now is the best time to buy new Champion windows, because when you buy 2, you get 2 free. Buy 2 Champion windows, get 2 free? I guess that means if you buy 4, you get 4 free. Buy 6, get 6 free. Buy 10, get 10 free.
Hurry, Champion's Buy 2, Get 2 free sale is for a limited time.
Great job, everybody. Thanks.
Call 888-4CHAMPION or schedule your free in-home estimate online today.
Introducing TPC Wisconsin, Madison's elite golf club with worldwide privileges, plus extraordinary amenities to keep you active year-round, to keep you fit, and well-equipped for the course, to keep you connected to what matters the most. Play where the pros play with an exclusive membership at TPC Wisconsin. Make it your club today.
I told myself I was okay with my moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis symptoms.
With my psoriatic arthritis symptoms. But just okay isn't okay.
And I was done settling.
If you still have symptoms after a TNF blocker like Humira or Enbrel, Rinvoq is different and may help. Rinvoq is a once-daily pill that can rapidly relieve joint pain, stiffness, and swelling in RA and PSA, relieve fatigue, and stop further joint damage. And in PSA, can leave skin clear or almost clear.
Rinvoq can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB, serious infections and blood clots, some fatal, cancers including lymphoma and skin, heart attack, stroke, and GI tears occurred. People 50 and older with a heart disease risk factor have an increased risk of death. Serious allergic reactions can occur. Tell your doctor if you are or may become pregnant.
Done settling?
Ask your rheumatologist for Rinvoq.
And take back what's yours.
AbbVie could help you save.
A1 Furniture and Mattress is closing their giant showroom, and that means the best prices ever. Everything must go. Over $1 million in inventory must be sold. Name brands at huge discounts for every room. Store closing sale on now at A1 Furniture and Mattress.
Here's a look at the temperatures that we've seen across our area over the last 2 weeks, and also comparing them to normal. Obviously, you see a lot of reds indicating we have certainly been above normal. Yesterday was the warmest day compared to average, with 17 degrees above normal. That's what the high was, 82. And a lot of that had to do with that southerly wind bringing in that warm air. Today, the winds are going to shift, which will cool things down a bit. But after today, although it will be cooler on Monday, temperatures are going to warm back up to near 80 by the end of the week. And although we may still drop by the time we get to this time next week again, we're still looking at temperatures at or above normal, and there really is no end in sight to the warmer temperatures. At the very least, though, it does look like we aren't going to see quite as many 80s in the forecast as we could potentially be seeing by the end of this week. In that case, obviously, I mean, we may not see any 80s after Friday and Saturday, but it does look like we are going to see temperatures remaining above normal going forward.
All right, Jacob, thank you. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and in this morning's health conversation, Dr. Rupa Shah is back with reminders on what symptoms women should watch for, the current treatment options for breast cancer, and what women should know about cancer screenings.
Dr. Shah, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So it's October. We're really focusing on that Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So what are the most common warning signs of breast cancer?
Yeah, so often you aren't going to have any symptoms, right? It might be an undetected lump. However, there are a few signs and symptoms people could have. If you notice any lump in your breast or in your armpit, that's something, you know, you definitely should see your physician about. Any redness, changes in the skin, dimpling of the skin, flaking, redness, itching of the nipple, you know, anything like that, any changes surrounding the breast or even just pain, make sure you talk to your physician about that and get a good exam done.
And does early detection make a difference in survival rate?
Yeah, absolutely. We know that women that get detected earlier, get treatment earlier before the cancer has spread or advanced to another stage, really do quite well in terms of outcomes. So that's why it's so important at the first sign of any symptom that you check in with your physician and get a mammogram or the recommended imaging before things really progress. Yeah.
And so if you do unfortunately find out you do have a diagnosis, what does the treatment entail?
Well, depending on the type of cancer and the degree of spread, it really varies. There's a lot of different treatment. It could range from surgery to hormonal therapy to you know, just chemotherapy, radiation. You know, there's a wide range of different treatments for breast cancer, all of which are really effective. So that is the good news. But again, early detection and catching that cancer in the earlier stages is really the key that I focus on with patients. Yeah.
Yes, and I know cancer knows no age. So
absolutely.
What should women know about getting screened?
Yeah, so that's really key. So when we're talking about prevention, mammography is still our key preventative strategy. So depending on the on your health history, the average risk person should begin screening at age 40. So talking to your physician about screening mammograms starting at age 40. If you've got any special circumstances, a strong family history, anything like that, then you may be eligible for earlier screening. So talking to your physician about that too. There's also MRI screening, ultrasounds, different modalities that we use for women at higher risk for breast cancer. Like I said, if you've got family history, so talking to your physician to see if you need any of that screening. But again, starting at age 40 is usually when I'll tell women to start talking to their physician about yearly mammograms.
Absolutely. So obviously those mammograms very important. But like if for those of us who are just at home, what are some things that we can do at home, you know, just to do maybe a check of ourselves, just to make sure everything's okay?
Yeah, I mean, you certainly could do your own breast self-exams. Those are not always recommended as they used to be previously, just because the lumps that we often find in younger women don't tend to be the cancerous lumps, but they could be fibroadenomas or benign nodules, which can lead to a little bit of anxiety and stress about what could this be. But still, not a bad idea to get familiar with what your own breasts feel like, what the normal lumps and bumps are, so that if something did come up, you might know that this is abnormal from what your usual breasts feel like. So yeah, not a bad idea at all to do self-breast exams at home.
All right, but yeah, obviously see your physician if you have any concerns, first and foremost.
Yes. Don't be embarrassed. Make sure that you get in there and talk about it.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Shaw, we want to be able to find all of this information. Where can we find you?
So they can find me on Instagram at Wellness with Dr. Shaw.
Very good. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Time now, 7:46. Still ahead, Jacob has a look at the first warn forecast as we take a live look outside at the Capitol building. You're watching Weekend Mornings.
Sponsored by Three Bears Resort, Indoor Water Park and Conference Center in Warrens, Wisconsin.
It's the Planet Fitness Strong Choice Sale. Why pay more for the same weights at other gyms when you can save tons at Planet Fitness? Save $28 or more when you join today for just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends October 10th. Planet Fitness, strong choice.
In a Class 3 casino, you're playing against the house, so there's no guarantee a player has to win. Ever. And in a Class 2 casino, the players play against each other and not the house. So someone always wins.
So you're saying... He's saying if you want to win at something, you have to go to Ho Chunk Gaming Madison, a Class 2 casino where someone has to win.
How about this then?
Ho Chunk Gaming Madison.
I'm so happy. I just put this dress on that I haven't worn in over 10 years.
I just this morning made a new hole in my belt, so that was super exciting.
Why are women everywhere choosing Sonobello, the advanced solution for permanent fat removal?
I saw the results immediately.
It's the best I have felt since I was in my 20s.
My waist is tiny. I'm very, very happy.
I'm nearly 50, y'all.
And my abs haven't been this flat since before I've had kids.
For a limited time, take advantage of Sonobello's best offer of the year. Sonobello's board-certified surgeons use micro-laser technology to safely target and remove your diet-resistant fat cells for good on your stomach, hips and thighs, back, and so much more.
Check it out, Snatch Waist. Loving the results.
It will change your life. It did for me.
Call 1-888-510-6198 now or go to sonobello.com to claim special pricing.
Senator Baldwin claims she's doing something about the fentanyl crisis and says she got a major fentanyl bill passed. But Senator Baldwin is lying. The bill's main sponsor, Senator Tim Scott, had this to say.
As the primary sponsor, I've never had a single conversation with Tammy about this bill, period.
Career politicians like Senator Baldwin are always lying about something. Senator Baldwin, she's extreme, radical, and wrong.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
It's the Planet Fitness Strong Choice Sale. Why pay more for the same weights at other gyms when you can save tons at Planet Fitness? Save $28 or more when you join today for just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends October 10th.
Planet Fitness, strong choice.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Good morning, everybody. Here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. Much cooler and windy today, but after tomorrow, where we will see similar temperatures, they are going to slowly warm up throughout the week, and we also will be staying dry really for the foreseeable future. So those wind gusts, they're going to be up to around 30 to 35 miles per hour throughout much of the day, especially in the central portion of Wisconsin. Southern Wisconsin will still see gusty winds as well. Now, as we look at the wind gusts for the evening, that's when they're going to start to calm down. We'll see wind gusts around 15 to 20 miles per hour, and then the winds really won't even be a factor by the time we get to Monday morning. Now, as far as temperatures, much cooler today, highs in the 60s, plenty of sunshine. We are going to see a few clouds here and there, but otherwise clear skies are in the forecast, and clear skies will continue tonight with morning lows tomorrow morning possibly being the coldest they've been this season, as some areas may drop all the way into the middle and upper 30s, possibly even close to freezing for a few isolated locations in central Wisconsin. Now for Monday, temperatures will be similar. It's not going to be nearly as windy. We also may see a little bit more cloud cover, but we're going to continue to see high temperatures in the 60s when they're going to continue to warm up after Monday. Now looking at the rainfall forecast, we're pretty much going to see a 0% chance of rainfall through the day on Friday. So this entire work week will be dry. Could see some light rain Saturday night, but still not expecting much. And as we look a little bit beyond just the 10-day forecast, we are going to continue to see dry conditions, not just for Wisconsin, but really all of the United States with the exception of Florida. Now, speaking of Florida, I unfortunately have to address this. I want to touch on it one more time, that there is a Tropical Storm Milton, expected to strengthen into a hurricane, possibly into a major hurricane, and impact Florida. If there is any good news, it's the fact that it looks like it will stay just in Florida. The areas in the Carolinas dealing with that flooding likely not going to be impacted by this system, but right now the track of Milton will bring it right through Tampa and then Orlando. So again, another potentially dangerous situation down in Florida. We definitely don't want to see that. Now, coming back to our area, it is going to be pretty quiet and nice. We'll see 70s in the forecast, plenty of sunshine. Highs could be back in the lower 80s by Friday and Saturday. And outside of the fact that we definitely would need a little bit of rainfall considering our drought situation, the conditions outside are going to be very nice. This is the forecast for Madison. Very similar, plenty of sunshine, highs warming up after Monday. Again, could be back near 80 for Friday and Saturday before another big drop next weekend, Saturday into Sunday. Temperatures may drop again as we head into Monday before rising back up for Tuesday. But no matter the temperatures, we're going to see plenty of sunshine, and even when those temperatures are in the upper 60s, they're not going to be too bad. After today, also not going to be as windy.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Still ahead, we have a look at the 52nd Annual International Balloon Fiesta taking place this weekend. That's next. Plus, here's a look at what's coming up on For the Record.
Hey Kyle, this morning we're taking a look at how the betting odds are shaped by the presidential race. We also sit down with a former Republican sheriff who's endorsing Kamala Harris this fall. Let's head this morning on For the Record at 10:30.
Don't miss Schuster's Farm Fall Harvest, September 21st through November 2nd. Over 60 activities for all ages. Get lost in the corn maze. Enjoy barnyard animals and hay rides. Over 14 acres of pumpkins. Tasty eats and treats with apple cider donuts, homemade pumpkin cake, caramel apples, craft beer, and wine. Dare to enter our haunted forest. Schuster's Farm Fall Harvest, just minutes east of Madison in Deerfield. Visit schustersfarm.com for details.
Sometimes the smallest cracks can cause the biggest chills. And something sinister is lurking in the shadows.
What was that?
To survive, they must seal their fate.
Not working.
With Feldco.
50% off windows ends soon. Come now.
This fall, watch out for The Draft.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feldco.
I'm Joan Balwig, and here at the shop we have solutions both big and small. And that's why I fought in Madison for historically large increases for our fire, police, and EMS, and made sure that our small businesses had the permits that they needed to operate. I delivered millions for ag and rural road funding and created the one-day fishing license. I brought both sides together to make sure that our kids can both read and write. And those are both really big things, but you get the idea.
Every holiday season, you have in-laws in the spare, the twins in the office, and Uncle Teddy on the sofa. Sounds like it's time for a serious sleep upgrade. During the pre-holiday sale at Denver Mattress. Shop today and save because everything is on sale. Like the Queen Size Summit, now only $332.49. Shop our Doctor's Choice Original lineup starting at only $664.99. And get a $300 gift when you purchase any Tempur-Pedic. Or get 48 months no interest and free shipping. The pre-holiday sale, on now at Denver Mattress.
Announcing the winners of Madison Magazine's Best of Madison Readers Poll for 2024. Congratulations to Vita Aesthetics for winning gold for Best Specialty Spa. Schedule your personalized consultation today. See all the winners on MadisonMagazine.com.
Need life insurance? SelectQuote found Jacob, 40, a $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. And SelectQuote found his wife Wendy, a $500,000 policy for only $17 a month.
SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Monday at 6.
The impact of the black vote can largely change elections.
And I'm meeting with the local voters that can play that pivotal role.
We got to see which candidate is going to actually walk the walk and not just talk the talk.
We'll learn which issues are important to this key constituency.
Prices, food, gas, things of that nature.
Equity, access to health care, education.
And what they say each candidate must do to earn their support.
3 for the People, Monday on News 3 Now at 6.
Finally this morning, a time-honored tradition is back this weekend in Albuquerque, New Mexico, as thousands of people are gathered for the International Balloon Fiesta. The weather put a slight damper on the opening ceremonies on Saturday, and strong winds delayed the start of the event. But eventually the winds calmed and the opening ceremonies took place, and then some majestical balloons took flight. This is the 52nd year for this event, and Jacob, every time I see this, it comes up every year, and I see the video, and I'm like, okay, it's not Wisconsin's story, but I love having this story every year because it is so cool to see those up in the air.
Yeah, I definitely would be scared being in one of those. Are there actually people in there or no?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they are? Okay,
in the baskets. You've never seen the hot air balloon?
I mean, I've seen obviously I've seen that before.
I'm kidding, dude.
But like, I didn't know if this was one of those. But yeah, I definitely would be scared being up there, but on the ground, it does look very cool. Now, looking at our forecast one last time, plenty of sunshine. Today will be windy. The rest of the week, not quite as bad in terms of the winds. After Monday, temperatures are going to warm up. We'll see highs back in the 70s, possibly back in the 80s again for Friday and Saturday. Really, our only chance of rain, and even this will be a very small chance, will be Saturday night into Sunday, where temperatures may fall again over the next weekend and then fall again for the following Monday. But overall, definitely enjoy the weather. Again, hold on to your hats today. It's going to be a windy one, but the conditions outside will be very nice this week.
All right, Jacob, thank you. And thank you all for watching. Have a great Sunday, folks.